Alright, welcome to Clan Relentless Heroes YouTube channel. This is Chaotic casting this particular game between two Platinum players. Co-casting with me today is RedLobster.
Hey guys.
Alright, we actually have a pretty good PVZ today. We have Kissing down here in the bottom left-hand corner as the Protoss.
Up at the top right, we have the orange Shakahzan spawning as Zerg, which, gotta say, Chaotic, really excited. I don't get to see a lot of PVZs, so I'm really stoked about watching this replay.
That's very true. After the patch, we've actually seen a whole lot more Zergs and a whole lot less Terrans, but still, PVZs sometimes can be a rarity.
Yep. All the normal things happening right now. Shaka is sending his Overlord down to do a little bit of scouting. My guess is, and I'm fairly certain I'm going to be correct, is that he's going to take advantage of this giant middle area we have sitting right where the Kissing's probe is moving by. It's a great place to send any aerial scout just to poke in, check out what's going on at the Zelnaga towers, and then very quickly retreat back to safety.
That's very true, and you can see that Kissing actually is just now throwing down her gateway. Doing a little scouting action with the probe. Make sure that we're not seeing some kind of 9 pool or some weird crazy Zerg cheese. And it looks like Shaka is not going to do any kind of cheesy behavior today.
I certainly hope not. The real question is, though, what exactly is he going to do? Because there's about 2 to 3 different really popular Zerg strategies these days. The first one would be the 14 hatch, which now looking he just did, except he threw it down in his main, so he didn't go for what I was about to say, which was the 14 expand to the natural. Maybe because Kissing's currently denying it with her probe, he probably would have been able to get it there in time. I'm not certain. The other idea would be the 14 spawning pool, then the hatch. Maybe he's going to go for that spawning pool right now. I don't know. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it seems like this three early base strategy by Zerg is becoming quite popular. It consists of your original starting hatch, and then a hatch inside the base, and then a hatch at the natural really fast, so that you can get an extra bit of larva out to help get units and be able to drone. Kissing actually does have a pretty decent response to this, going with a kind of a 2-gate opening here with mainly Zealots. So we may actually see an early Zealot push in here to try to harass these delayed Zerglings.
Yeah, for any of you up there, if you jump down on Kissing's base right where that Zealot's standing, for any of you out there who aren't exactly certain what's going on, Kissing has done a great job here placing her gateway and her pylon, because that Zealot is sitting right where the Zerglings would have to try and run in, and one Zealot only has this, she's only provided enough radius to circle that Zealot for about 2 Zerglings, maybe 3 to get around, so she has created a door while at the same time blocking it off with a single Zealot. And up against Zerglings, that is a great, very popular strategy.
It's very true. You got a nice wall off there, and it looks like the Cybernetics core just finished. And Warp Gate technology has been started research. We actually have a full set of energy here on this Nexus. So I wonder if she's saving that up in order to try to get a crucial piece of technology out.
It's a sentry or a Stalker. But that doesn't look like she's chrono boosting much, except for a gateway that, well, currently the gateway doesn't have much in it. Isn't producing anything, but if it were me personally, I'd be chrono boosting that cyber core as fast as I could. Looks up in Shaka's base, we have the natural expansion going down, so we're about to be sitting pretty good on 3 bases. Kind of on the lines of what you were saying earlier, Chaotic. I've seen a couple games with this 3 base where some Zerg players don't even go for that extra hatch in the main. They just go for a third base somewhere off the map, only usually done on 4-player maps, but it's a great way to kind of expand yourself out, and then they start throwing down, proxy fires on different bases, so it's pretty hard to track down.
That's very true, Red, but we actually have a poke going on here by the Zerg, and he came down and saw those Zealots, and we got shot at by the Stalker, so he knows that there's going to be quite a good bit of gateway units down there, because he saw those two warp gates right there at the front. But he did not see this Stargate that just finished off, so we'll have to see what gets built out of the Stargate, but we actually might see some of that classic White Raw Phoenix play.
Maybe, I certainly hope so, because after the patch, we haven't seen a lot of Void Rays being used as much anymore in high-level games like, or higher-level games like this one, but looking at Shaka's base, we have 2 Queens sitting here, so if it is a Phoenix, it probably would just be a single Scout Phoenix moving around, because these two queens are going to do a great job at denying any kind of early pressure from 2, maybe 3 Phoenixes.
That's very very true. And it looks like there was a chrono boost on that Phoenix, and the first Phoenix is out. So we'll have to see what Kissing decides to do with this, and she is sending it out. So it is making its way across the map. We'll have to see if we it may have enough energy for maybe 1 lift, and that's about it. So it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. It looks like it's just going to be a scouting. And two queens
just met up with the sitting size natural. They're just pummeling down that thing. Kissing has finally just moved it across, scouted the double Evo chambers, which were dropped inside of Shaka's base, but those queens are still chasing it down. There is a Roach Warren right in view, so she's going to get sight of that as well. It looks like this Phoenix might go down, might go, no, it's shot a couple times at an Overlord and then escaped barely with its life.
That's very, very true. And it looks like it's actually going to make its way down here to the bottom right-hand side of the map and be a little bit out of commission. We do have 1 more Phoenix in play from Kissing, but she has decided not to do anything with it right now.
If we look right up at the top at Shaka's natural, we see there's a small push going on by Kissing, but she actually got her Stalkers and her Sentry surrounded by the Zerglings. Both Stalkers went down, Sentry went down, 2 Zealots went down, so that was not a beneficial push for Kissing. Just lost too much, got surrounded too fast, and now we have the Evo chamber pumping. Actually, Chaotic, if you look really quickly up inside of Shaka's base, we had just now the single Evo chamber that's working on the +1 melee was working on both the Carapace and the melee, so he accidentally misclicked a bit and then now is 50% behind on the second upgrade.
Yeah, he is getting some roaches out to go along with these Zerglings, so he actually has a pretty sizable force right now. Kissing right now actually is kind of pretty far behind, actually, but and does have a couple of Zealots out, and that's about it. She just took her natural and is building a gateway, a forge, and 2 pylons, and a really nice wall across one of these lanes of attack at the natural. This is such a wide lane to attack at that she wants to make it a little bit harder for the Zerg to be able to get surrounds with those Zerglings.
Which is really, one of the core things that you have to learn in order to get good at fighting Zerg opponents.
And actually, here's some Zerglings coming in the battle right now. They actually get a surround on those Zealots, and they are just hammering those Zealots and just nom, 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 nom. But another Stalker warps on in, and a little bit of micro here, pulling that 1 Stalker back. We got a couple more Zealots walking in, and it looks like she's actually going to push this force back.
That was, it's awful to lose those kinds of, those Zealots just now, but, if there's one thing about this game, it's that Shaka currently has map control, has been able to successfully push back all the things that Kissing threw at him. But now I think the tide might turn for the game. I think maybe Kissing's going to push out here in a couple seconds, take map control back, and also, really quickly, right up here at Shaka's base, looks like he's about to start expanding over into this 3rd lane. He just knocked down the rock right by his natural.
It's very true, and it looks like Kissing's actually finishing off that wall with a couple of cannons and a robo bay. So she's going to be in a great defensive position as she has just 4 Zealots and 3 Stalkers. She'll go up against Shaka's army, but those cannons are going to help a lot. They are in a really great placement to be able to shoot here or be able to hit just right outside this robotics facility. And she is chrono boosting out the upgrades, so she is going to start off with a couple of upgrades here.
Currently, we're sitting on 1-1 for Zerg as for melee and Carapace, and it looks like Shaka has dropped his Hydra down. So we're going to see some Hydras coming out here pretty soon. He's got the Evolved Groove Spikes, which, as a previous Zerg player, I can tell you is one of the most important upgrades you can probably purchase as a Zerg player.
That's very true, but Kissing did just send a Phoenix up here and has scouted that 4th hatch going down here at the left-hand corner base, so she is going to actually be able to see that.
It looks like that's coming in.
So it looks like we are seeing some Immortals come out of this robotics facility, and a sizable force of Stalkers and Zealots sitting here guarding this natural base. Still got a lot of Chrono Boost charge on both Nexuses. So and Templar Archives just went down. So we may actually get to see some storms out of this play.
Yeah, that Phoenix is sitting pretty nicely right over that 3rd expansion by Shock. If I were Kissing right now, I'd push up a bit, try and take back the Zelnaga Towers to not allow Shaka to keep having map control like he does and scouting ability, and maybe push in, try and do some harassing on this third expansion.
So I'm actually noticing some decent creep spread by Shaka. Pushing that creep down in the center of the map, this is actually going to be quite nice if he decides to push in with those Hydralisks, because we all know Hydralisks on creep, totally awesome. Hydralisks off of creep, not
totally
so
not
much.
Awesome. Kind of like the exact opposite of awesome, which would be awful.
That's very true. It's very true. They lose so much speed when they get off of that creep.
We it's good. It's obviously important at these late stages or later stages, obviously not late, later stages of the mid game to go ahead and start expanding this creep out. If I was Shaka, I'd be kind of worried right here at the moment because, well, we have a push coming up right now, but looked like Kissing wasn't doing much for very long, so he was expecting, or could have been expecting anything. Still saw that Phoenix flying around, so maybe she was going Void Rays, maybe she was going for carriers. Who really knew at that point? They hadn't seen each other since that initial push. But Kissing's going to come right in, snipe a lot of this creep that he was putting down, poke a little bit at the forces, finish off the tumor, and now is pulling back through the high yield towards her base.
And it looks like Shaka's actually doing a little bit of a counter push over here, and is coming in on her backside. We got some Zerglies coming in, and it actually gets a surround on those High Templar. One storm does go off on those Roaches, and those Roaches are going to be coming down to half health, but that army was just a little bit out of position, and I believe that Kissing came out on the bad side of that.
Yeah, you know, she's still got a lot of High Templars, and they are still working pretty well on their energy, but she's going to push into this third. Oh, no. Oh, man. Shaka's going to come right back around and catch her with her back to the creep. She's going to push a bit, try to get to these Roaches, but the Hydras already have that upgraded range. They can snipe from a fairly large distance. She's going to push. That Observer's going to be sitting there watching this entire thing as its friends get destroyed. That Immortal is doing so much damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough until it's 5 against 3, and that Immortal goes down, and that is all that she wrote for these troops. 2-on-2, 2-on-1, and now just 2 Hydralisks remain.
That's right, that's right. And it looks like there's still a couple of more Stalkers coming in, but it looks like these Roaches, these Hydralisks are just going to clean that right back up, and she's actually going to have to pull back out.
I'm not certain whether that was a misclick on Kissing's part, whether she just set a rally point over there to try and reinforce, or if she actually intended to push up and maybe do a little bit more damage with those 3 Stalkers.
That's definitely going to be up to the ages. But Kissing did secure herself another base with that push. We got a couple of pylons and another Nexus being thrown down here at this right-hand expansion, this bottom right-hand expansion. So looks like Kissing elected to go with a little bit safer route and take this expansion versus the gold expansion.
Yeah, Shaka just threw down his infestation pit, so obviously he's intending to go to the tier 3 units. And right now we're sitting on 2 Carapace, 1 range, and 2 melee. So based on the upgrades he's purchased so far, it would be a very beneficial move for him to go Ultralisks right as soon as he can.
Yeah, it's going to be very true. And right now, actually, Shaka is winning in the upgrades department, as Kissing is still sitting on 1-0. So that Forge has actually been inactive for quite a while. But we are seeing a lot of High Templar being warped in right now. But, of course, right now she doesn't have the upgrade to get them started with enough energy for Storms. She's going to have to let those High Templar charge up.
We still have a lot of energy sitting at both of Kissing's main and natural expansion. I would like to see some maybe some upgrades being purchased or anything, but just something to use these all this chrono boosting potential that we have, maybe just on the warp gates, and get some zealots in here.
Looks like Kissing's going to try to move out again against this force. Took that leftmost Zelnaga watchtower, but it looks like she's going to try to hit that base again, and that's going to put those High Templar back in the back of the army. Yeah,
and these Zerg units are moving around and are going to be in a perfect position again if she actually gets into that third, but she's going to opt for the side of caution and not put her back to the Zergs again.
It looks like we actually have a couple of storms going out. Shaka decided to engage this force. A lot of storms being thrown down. It's just going to eat through all of that bionic, those bionic Zerglings, and those Roaches doing so much damage. But Shaka really came out ahead on that. A lot of units down there at that 1 health range, but he still came out way ahead, just eating those Protoss units alive.
That's the last 2 battles. I'm going to jump over here and pull down the units lost tab Ooh, and Kissing is sitting 3,000 resources more lost on units than Shock is at the moment. He's definitely in a very, very strong place at the moment as far as who's taken the lead in this battle. But if we look and we see both of them have a pretty similar number of probes on the field at the moment, but Shock has been on that third base for quite some time.